There comes a time where the student surpasses the master, where his spiritual successor surpasses that of the original, and most of that has been proven gracefully multiple times. This time, however, is not one of those times. Kitsune Tales is a perfect example of an amateurish attempt at something that was crafted professionally with attention to detail in addition to history itself. Super Mario Bros. 3 set the standard for future Mario games at its time, adding world maps and interactions in those world maps, a more superb soundtrack, and my personal favorite, secrets to find within the game itself. It's not impossible for anything to become similar to or surpass Super Mario Bros. 3, but given what Kitsune Tales provides, it's incredibly underwhelming. To understand where and how Kitsune Tales falls short, I need to acknowledge how nonsensical the story of Kitsune Tales actually is. Yuzu, a Kitsune girl, has become a messenger and received her first messenger assignment, something that her parents are far too proud of, especially her mother.
And if someone punches you, you punch them right back!
Yuzu's supposed childhood friend Kiri congratulates Yuzu, and Yuzu sets off on her journey. Along the way, Yuzu finds some amanita mushrooms and stacks on a few and is attacked by an Oni. A healer by the name of Akko heals Yuzu and becomes friends with her. Kiri becomes upset about Yuzu being careless, and Yuzu continues her journey. She helps Akko gather supplies and meets an angry ghost. Kiri grows more upset knowing about Yuzu's friendship with Akko, and even more so when Akko invites Yuzu to dance with her at the Spring Festival. At the festival, Yuzu and Akko dance, and Kiri intervenes, saying that Akko's healing is in need. As Kiri dances with Yuzu, a monster attacks, which Yuzu effortlessly defeats. She then hears about Kiri capturing Akko and locking her in the elemental prison. Now Yuzu must collect the keys needed to unlock the prison to free Akko. With some encouragement from her parents, Yuzu sets out on a journey to free Akko from the elemental prison. She travels to 5 different worlds, acquires the keys, or rather becoming attuned since Kiri acquired the keys first. Along the way, Yuzu becomes conflicted of Akko's feelings for her. Yuzu's parents offer some advice for Yuzu to think over, especially her mother, as she also discloses some trivial matters regarding her past.
I'm sure she'll be fine. I remember dating 2 girls when I was younger.
What?
Then one of them got jealous and things became even more interesting.
I don't like where this is going.
Once it was even 3 girls, and there was that time it was 2 girls and a boy.
After getting attuned with all the elements, Yuzu attempts to rescue Akko and put an end to Kiri's scheme, but Kiri is also attempted to rescue Akko. After offering the attuned elements to the keys, Kiri explains her side of the story. Turns out that Kiri is also in love with Yuzu and has tried repeatedly to confess her love to her. After training with her master, Eren, Kiri begins her plans to confess to Yuzu, but this doesn't turn out well as Kiri had hoped and staged her plan to have Akko removed. As for Akko's imprisonment, this will be explained after Kiri collects all the keys. In between getting the keys, Kiri visits Akko, where the two grow fondly of each other. Also, Eren is sent by Lord Kamino to bring Kiri to justice. Kiri convinces Eren to refrain from working for Kamino. While waiting for Yuzu, Kiri and Akko plan a date. After freeing Akko, Yuzu explains that she doesn't want to date anyone and was worried about not being friends with Kiri or Akko, but Kiri and Akko accept Yuzu's friendship. Suddenly, Kamino enters the scene and labels Kiri as a traitor and brings the Oni back to defeat Kiri. With Akko's help of healing magic, Yuzu and Kiri defeat the Oni, and Kamino's plan, whatever that is thwarted. After that, Kiri and Akko go on their date and the two get to hook up, all while Yuzu watches from afar. As for Kamino, his plan all along was to take Kiri's position as the heir and label Kiri as the villain. He took advantage of Kiri's plan to have Akko removed from the dance just so he could gain a higher position. Because of this, Eren follows Kamino no longer. Dumbfounded by these turn of events, Kamino wondered why he wasn't the hero of this story. And the answer is simple. It doesn't make sense. He was already the leader of the village, so why bother going on this crusade for higher power when he already had everything he needed? Why even bother framing Kiri for a crime she didn't commit just to become a hero? Speaking of Kiri, the romance in this story doesn't really come naturally. First, Akko falls for Yuzu, then Kiri becomes jealous and attempts to be alone with Yuzu, thus starting the journey of rescuing Akko, and in the end, Kamino is revealed to be the villain, who barely has any involvement in the story whatsoever. Most of the story revolves around Yuzu, Kiri, and Akko, who are part of a love triangle, with Kiri and Akko setting their sights on Yuzu. After some self-discovery, Yuzu finds herself not having the desire to be in a relationship, but Kiri and Akko find each other and hook up in the end. And personally speaking, from the beginning I thought Kiri was a boy, and to be honest, I think Kiri should have been a boy. That's not to say that I hated or disliked Kiri being a girl, but Kiri is shown to be more masculine than feminine. Whether it's smoking, becoming angry at the Oni for harming Yuzu, growing impatient, gathering the keys, or even her character design, which comes off as boyish. I had to get accustomed to Kiri being a girl. Plus, I'm quite fond of girl relationships as someone who admires Yuri, my personal favorite being Strawberry Panic. But the romance in this game didn't really come off as natural. Seeing as how this is basically Super Mario Bros. 3, Kitsune Tales makes that apparent when gameplay starts. Everything you know about Super Mario is carried over Kitsune Tales. The running, the jumping, the coins, the world maps, the wells that are clearly pipes, and even these ghosts that resemble the Boom Boom fights. Unlike Super Mario Bros. 3, Yuzu and Kiri are completely different in their playstyles. Yuzu is straight up just Mario. She's the one that inherits all the power-ups and relies on traditional combat method of jumping on enemies. As her power-ups, they take the form of costumes. This bamboo coolie hat can be used for a spinning dive move that can break blocks. The samurai outfit, my personal favorite, allows Yuzu to attack enemies with a spear and can attach the spear to walls, which Yuzu can use to stand on. The shark outfit is basically the frog suit from Mario Bros. 3. The snowman power-up is basically the ice flyer from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Yuzu can break or grab any enemies that are frozen ice cubes. The bird suit, which offers double jumping, and the dragon suit, which has fire shots. Yuzu can also swim in love with this power-up as well. I find Yuzu's power-ups to be a bit underwhelming. I do like the samurai and the bamboo hat power-up, but the shark and bird costume could have provided something offensive other than just providing some sort of mobility. Kiri also has power-ups, though they're not like the ones Yuzu has. Kiri uses a diving suit that's just a frog suit again, and my personal favorite, the ninja suit. Anytime Kiri crouches, she becomes untouchable. Both characters can use the boot, similar to the boot from Mario Bros. 3, and the cloud that both Yuzu and Kiri can use Akidu style. And then there's the Kitsune mask, which grants invisibility and dash attacks. Between Yuzu and Kiri, Kiri is the better character as she gets sword moves that she acquires after defeating Aaron during the adventure. A dash attack, a rising slash, a dangerous dive kick, a sword charge attack when Kiri runs at full speed, and to top it off, Kiri can wall jump, slide, and stomp. Playing as Kiri is my go-to way of playing this game. The flip side, however, is that Kiri relies on either rice cakes or fish crackers for health, the fish crackers providing a clown to ride in. Also a power-up both characters can use. As for the adventure itself, both Yuzu and Kiri travel through the same worlds in different paces. The first world serves as an introduction to what this game is. World 1 is not backtrackable, so this world is a one and done. Afterwards, both characters traverse to the other worlds via this grand world map, which is highly reminiscent of the Star World from Super Mario World. The second world is the forest with trees and swimming areas. The third world is a beach with tons of underwater action and perils. The fourth world is all ice and snow with some of the worst crushing hazard levels I've seen in a video game. This right here is way worse than the second level in the Valley of Bowser, as that level required taking your time and planning your movements accordingly. Here is do or die, as Yuzu and Kiri have to press these buttons to change the direction of these ice walls. In the later level, where the ice walls are vertical, is even worse. At first, it comes off as a regular ice wall level, but then the ghost gives chase. If there's anything that Kitsune Tales gets wrong, it's without question the enemies, especially the ones that chase Yuzu and Kiri everywhere they go. These ghosts are not like the boos from Mario, in fact, they're even worse. Once you have their sights set on Yuzu or Kiri, they won't stop until there's tons of distance away from them. And sometimes these ghosts will attack without warning, especially when Yuzu and Kiri enter a door. Even basic platforming is a struggle because these ghosts are all over the place and their pursuit is relentless. Platforming is a hassle because these ghosts are around the most crucial places for traversal, especially when there's one ghost, which makes a regular level nerve-wracking to go through. In fact, enemy placement is also a problem this game has, especially in vertical sections or pure vertical levels. Whether it's enemies dropping from high ground or enemies walking from trees or clouds, or these annoying raccoons that throw either knives or shurikens, especially when Yuzu or Kiri ride on clouds. And of course, there are the aquatic enemies. Now these koi fish here and the crabs aren't really that bad to handle with, but these pufferfish are no different than the ghosts. At least these can be defeated, so Kiri has a great disadvantage here than Yuzu does. But these fish are also relentless and don't let up unless there's great distance from them. These pufferfish are worse than the fish that follow Mario and Luigi around in Super Mario World. Then there are the kappas that grab Yuzu and Kiri when they jump out of water or lava, especially lava. Speaking of underwater, the swimming in this game doesn't feel that well. It feels like Yuzu and Kiri don't carry much weight when underwater, and the control when simply just swimming upward doesn't feel as tight as I needed it to. The swimming in Mario games and even Donkey Kong Country, the original trilogy in Tropical Freeze, has swimming that feels natural, even when I'm tapping the jump button selectively to swim gently. World 5 is easily the worst world in the entire game. At first, it's just a Sky Mountain based world with either climbing or avoiding falling, but then comes the moving platforms that either has whiplash when they turn or when they move one direction where Yuzu and Kiri have to keep up with it. So anytime that Yuzu or Kiri go for items or coins, they have to reach the moving platform on time before they end up stranded. Finally, there's World 6, which is fire based. This is where Yuzu wears a dragon suit, which allows fire shots and allows her to swim in lava. World 6 is quite the most perilous world of the bunch because of all the lava antics are played here. Rising and falling in lava, platforms over lava, dodging lava and crushing hazards, platforms that dip in lava, rising lava in a tower, and avoiding lava while falling, similar to avoiding spikes in classic Mega Man. Each world ends with a boss fight. The first world has this giant boot with a wind-up key. World 2 has this panda that's holding tons of weapons that rushes at Yuzu and Kiri with killer intended speed. World 3 has the beetle that summons water through a boat. World 4 has a cloud-riding bunny that summons laser beams. World 5 has this blue jay with a sword, personally my favorite boss. World 6 has this tiger who doesn't fight, but rather his fox army does the fighting for him. And for Kiri, she fights the Oni and Aaron. The first Oni fight is as simple as attacking and evading, but for Aaron, just use the ninja suit. Finally, there's the last Oni fight where Yuzu and Kiri take turns fighting it. Yuzu has a jump on the orb hovering over the Oni, which may seem an easy task at first if she can avoid the Oni's club. Bam! When she gets knocked out, Kiri steps in and finishes the fight for good. I found it easier to use the Rising Strike, but trying to dodge the club was still an issue. Also, I wish Rising Strike had more forward momentum, similar to Zero's Ryu engine from Mega Man X4. After completing both sides of the story, you'll unlock more levels that are even harder than the ones from the previous worlds.
No, thank you!
Also, in the middle of the adventure, the Traveling Merchant offers mini games to play where Yuzu and Kiri can earn coins or items. Similar to Super Mario Bros. 3, there's card matching, wheel spinning, and choosing a door. Use these when you get the chance. There's also the merchant himself that offers items for sale. Coins are used to purchase items, and that's all they're good for. Kitsune Tales doesn't have lives, so Yuzu and Kiri can collect coins to their heart's content. There are also mini games to play at the arcade, such as roaming around the ghost house Doom style, collecting apples Dig Dug style, Arkanoid, straight up Arkanoid, personally my favorite one, and playing as a Kappa. The music isn't all that bad, and some of them have some nice beats to it. And then there's the underwater theme, which is not only my favorite theme in the whole game, but I just love how serene it is. Visually, however, it's passable, but I wouldn't say it's something that impressive. Sprite work is detailed enough to distinguish what's part of the course or what's part of the background, but the background and some of the foliage could use some work. Either objects just have a similar color palette or they just come off as flat with none of detail. I may find the geometry of the game passable, but for some other assets, like the plant life on ground and underwater, could have been worked on some more. Kitsune surprisingly has voice acting, which is something I didn't think this game would have. Although I've grown accustomed to the talents of the main cast with the inclusion of Aaron, Kamino, and the merchant, Yuzu's parents come off as too expressive.
Kiddo, your mom and I heard you were given your first messenger assignment, and we couldn't be prouder. You're going on your first grand adventure where you'll encounter many new things.
If you're lucky, some of them might even be dangerous.
You'll do great. Just remember to enjoy the journey.
How exciting! Are you looking forward to Akko swooning at your big romantic gesture? Oh, you want Kiri instead? She's so pretty and such a bad girl. I don't blame you at all.
It feels as if these are characters that came from a cartoon rather than an actual video game. The voices themselves aren't that bad at all, my personal favorite being the merchant, who is my favorite character in this game overall.
Let's play a game. Match 2 cards to win prizes. Choose wrong 4 times and the game ends.
I can sum up Kitsune Tales with one word: mixed. On the surface, it's a platformer that's not really hiding its identity of what this game truly is. A Mario-like game with Mario gameplay with a mythological setting. As much as this game is setting out to be one's interpretation as Super Mario Bros. 3, it fails to live up to that. The enemy placement, certain enemy behaviors, and level design, whether it be vertical or the midway ghost towers, is what set this game back by a few miles. But I can praise the game for adapting the Mario formula with its own flavor, though that flavor comes off as somewhat bitter. As much as I like some aspects of the game, I can't like this as a whole. I wouldn't say that Kitsune Tales is a complete failure because it's not, but where I think the shortcomings are or what the game should improve on. And honestly, that's why I think Kitsune Tales quality is at. It needs improvement. What I would suggest is to go back to Super Mario Bros. 3 and understand what made that game great in the first place. Even Super Mario World and Super Mario Land are games that can also provide anyone to make a great platformer like Mario. If Kitsune Tales had doubled down on visuals, items, and level designs with better enemy placement and a story that was better written than what was presented, then I would no doubt think Kitsune Tales would have been that Mario's spiritual successor. And unfortunately, due to its shortcomings, I find it underwhelming yet endearing. Kitsune Tales isn't the worst indie game I played, but it did leave me wanting this game to be better than what I've experienced. Should Kitsune Tales receive a sequel, or if the same dev team works on a game like this, I hope that they manage to make something with careful consideration with design choices that I can fully appreciate with no regrets. As it is, Kitsune Tales comes off as a Mario fan game that hasn't realized its full potential. I wouldn't say it's a waste, but it definitely fell short on even the most crucial aspects of what it set out to do. If this had the same level of quality in everything it fell short from, then I have no doubt and regrets of returning to Kitsune Tales time and time again in 2 shakes of a tail.
I remember dating 2 girls when I was younger. Then one of them got jealous and things became even more interesting.
Oh, right. You did do that. A few times.
Uh-huh. Once it was even 3 girls, and there was that time it was 2 girls and a boy.
Okay, I hate to ask this, but please tell me there's an actual clarification regarding Yuzu's mother's connections.